How we doing, everybody? Welcome to the application video to the change of character. Now, like we talked about before in the previous video, we have three different kinds of structures. We have, or understanding how we have a change of trend, right? We have a break of swing structure, which changes our absolute swing structure, which is our overall direction and expectation for that specific swing points, i.e. if we're bullish and we get a break of swing structure, we understand that we are still in a bullish market and we expect the protected higher low to remain protected and the weak high to get ran when we're in a bullish trend and vice versa. Then we understand internal structure is simply lower time frame swing structure that happens within swing structural points, but this internal structure does not change the overall direction of the current swing structure, because all internal structure is essentially lower time frame swing structure, and this is what puts in complex pullbacks and things. And then a change of character is that first initial trend change within the market. It's where you see a low followed by a high, or a high followed by a low get taken. Now, I want to put out and understand and put this out first, that you want to be using change of characters in the right areas, and this will make a lot more sense when we come to supply and demand. Change of characters occur absolutely everywhere on the charts, okay? You can't just take a change of character, and if you get a bullish change of character, look to take longs, okay? It doesn't work like that. The most important thing we do is structure, okay? And that is why we use this as an extra part into structure. But just because we get a change of character doesn't mean we are going to moon in that direction or fall in that direction, because all it is that first initial trend change. Just note down that what you need to do is use change of characters in the right levels, and you'll understand the supply and demand levels, and this will make a lot more sense when we come to it in supply and demand section. But we're not going to draw supply and demand yet, because we're keeping this strictly to structure. But just note that down, change of characters are to be used in the right areas, okay? And that will make sense when we come to supply and demand. So what we've got here on the chart now is the 1 hour chart on EU, and as we've done before on all our other videos, we want to apply all the different concepts that we've learned so far and apply it on the charts. We're not just going to just show you examples of change of characters, because we want to show you the difference between the boss, the internal boss, and the change of character. We want to just continue to show you how we piece all this together to build our story, to build our narrative, and everything like that. And we just keep piecing things one by one in with each other. So what we can see here, and I hope we can all agree, that we are currently bearish on the H1 time frame on EU, okay, following a break of swing structure, being this low being taken right here. So we understand that when we get a break of swing structure, this confirms that we are still in a bearish market, and we understand we have a new protected lower high in the market, which is the highest point that's led to the break of structure, okay? So we can understand and denote that this is a protected lower high within the market, okay? We can understand and draw on a protected high within the market. Now we understand that price is pulling back down, okay? Now what we are expecting to see in a bearish market is what? We expect to see a new lower high in the market before a new lower low. That is what the expectation of a bearish market is. The protected high is protected and should not get broken as long as the current trend is to remain. And then obviously the lows are weak, because we expect to see the lows get taken every single time. So what can give us that first indication that we are looking to potentially put in this pullback on the higher time frame, sort of this H1 time frame, right? Because we know we're expecting to see a new lower high in the market before a new lower low. But how can we get that indication that price wants to pull back, okay? And that is where the change of character comes in, because we understand that overall swing structure, we can see we've got this high to this low. This is our swing structure, right? But when we get a change of character, this gives us our first indication that we are getting a trend change, which can potentially tell us, for example, if we get a bullish change of character in this instance, we are potentially now putting in the overall swing structural pullback, right? So if we get a change of character bullish, we understand we are still bearish because we have this swing high, and it's just that this was this weak low. We have the weak low. We'd expect to see a new lower high before a new lower low. So all a bullish change of character will be that first indication we are potentially going to see bullish price action within the market. So let's just play price on, and we can see here now that price is still pushing back down, and what we've got here now is we've taken a low right here. Okay, this is a low, and we understand that wick breaks, we can denote wick breaks by, change of characters by wick breaks. So the difference between an internal structural break or a break of structure and a change of character, we want to see price break through with a candle body to confirm a break of structure, a break of swing structure, or an internal break of structure, whereas a change of character is simply a wick break. Okay, now a wick break is simply, as you can see, this is a candle body break, but even if it breaks with a wick, then that is still a change of character, because we're looking for that first initial shift in trend, that first initial shift in order flow, which will make order flow will make sense as we come into a later video. But we can see here now that we've taken this low right here. Okay, so what we do is we've taken a low and we follow the candle up and we find the high. Okay, so this is currently the high. Okay, take a low, come back up, and we take the high. So if this high was to currently go, this is now our confirmed 1 hour change of character. So we've had a shift from bearish to bullish, right? So if this was to break above this high, we've now had our change of character, which is our first initial trend change, right? It hasn't changed the swing structural direction, because our swing structure is still from here to here temporarily, right? We are still bearish. We have an expectation to put in a new lower high before a new lower low. So the change of character is simply that first initial trend change, but it does not change the overall direction, because we are still bearish from these two swing points, right? So let's see what happens. There we go, right? We've now had a change of character bullish. We can see the low followed by the high gets taken. But now you'd be looking at this and saying, well, okay, we've got bullish price action. What does this mean? We understand that if we look at what we've got here now, we've started to pull back. We've got this weak low within the market. We are still bearish, right? We understand that the lower lows are weak when we are bearish, and we have a protected high. Okay, so if we were to piece all this together, obviously what we'd expect to see now is we know we've got a protected high, a weak low, a break of structure, and we're bearish. We expect to see a new lower high in the market before a new lower low. So what we can do is draw on our premium and discount tool from the swing high to the swing low, and we can see where the 50% is. We can understand and see where the premium levels are. So we know when we're bearish, we expect to sell, you know, because we're in the when you're in a bearish market, price is dropping and you're selling it. So you want to sell when price is at a premium, and that is when price is in the top 50%, right? So what can we expect to see now in the market as this price starts to pull up? Okay, like I said before, we look for change of characters and our right levels. It'll make a lot more sense. But you know, this first initial change of character bullish, okay, where the low followed by the high goes, it gives us our first indication that we're now going to see bullish price action, right? But now what can give us that indication now potentially that we are going to see the overall swing structural idea that this swing low to this swing high is going to run, and potentially now we're going to come and see the new lower low get ran, because we understand that overall the swing structural idea is we are still bearish from here to here, right? We're expecting to see a new lower high in the market before a new lower low, and that would be now to get a bearish change of character occur in the right level. So if we just play price back out and we see what happens, okay, we can see this is currently the high. So to be a change of character, we need this low to go, because we see this was the high. We follow the candles down, and we can see this would be the current low, right? So let's just play price on and see what happens. Right, we've taken a new high, okay? So this is the high, okay? So this is currently a high, right? So we can see this is the high, and what we do is we follow the candles down, and we find the low. So this is the high. So this is the high goes, and then this would be the low, right? So if this low was to break right now, okay, that would be a confirmed 1 hour change of character, because we've taken a high, okay, you can see we've taken a high, and then we would have taken a low. Okay, so if this was to break now, that would be a confirmed 1 hour change of character, and that would be that first initial trend change, because you can see we have bullish price action, okay, and obviously this here is internal structure, but obviously this would be the high, and then you go back and you find, whereas you might say this is with the difference between internal structural breaks and change of characters, we would say that this is the high, okay, this is the low that's pulled back, that's led to this break. So this low would be your internal structural break, so this would be your IBOS, okay, that's your internal structural break, but your change of character is that first high, you follow candles down, and then this is the low, okay, so that would be a change of character, and this low, because this was the low, that's led to this high, would be your internal structural boss, okay, if this low goes. Now obviously an internal structural break holds more weight than a change of character, because you've actually seen a shift of structure that is in, like, that's within your swing structure. So you know, your internal structure is bearish, so if this low is to go now, essentially you know, you've had a internal structural break in line with the external, but your change of character is that simply that first initial trend change. So you can see the high goes here, you follow the candle down, and this will be the low. So let's see what happens. Right, so you can see now what it's done is it's continued and respected it like the given order flow, which is currently bullish, and the momentum. So we can see here now, let's just delete all this for a minute. So we can see the most recent high that's gone is this level right here, okay? This is your CHoCH. This is the high that's been taken. So if we follow candle down, this is the most recent low. You can see the high goes, you follow it down, here's the low, okay? So now this would be the low. So if this low goes, now we'd have a confirmed bearish change of character, right? Because that would be a change of character, bearish, in line with your overall swing structure, which is bearish. Okay, but this is what I got. This is what I mean. Just because we're getting bullish structure here and we're breaking bullish, understand, and you've got to remember that we are still bearish within swing structure. So because we're still bearish within swing structure, we expect to see a new lower high in the market before a new lower low, okay? So if we get potentially now this bearish change of character, we can expect to see now that our internal and this first initial trend change within swing structure is lining up with the overall swing structure, which we know we have the expectation to put in a new lower high before a new lower low. We've pulled back up into premium prices. We might come and tap into a level that's significant, and then if we get a change of character, this has given us all the different things we need to go ahead and look to take a trade to the downside short. So let's see what happens. There we go. Right, you can see here now that we've broken through this with the candle body. There's our change of character. You can see here, look, the high, then the low gets taken. It is nothing more than that. It is no more complicated than that. You're simply looking for a high to get taken, you follow price down, and you see the low get taken. So now we've had a bearish change of character, okay? So that is all it is. The difference between the swing structure is that swing structure, this is your swing high, this is your swing low, okay? We are still bearish, and we have an expectation to come and put in a new lower high before a new lower low, and we'd like to see prices pull back up into the premium levels, okay? And then look to take prices up into there, and then this change of character can give us that first indication that now we are looking to get involved, and the potential swing structural direction could potentially start to play out now. Okay, so let's see what happens. So price pulls down, okay, and it doesn't, and it comes back up. Okay, now this is what I mean by the difference between change of character and the swing structure, right? Just because swing structure, the change of character broke bearish, it doesn't mean it has to go on in that given direction, right? But we understand that overall structure is king and what is most important, right? So we can see here that what price has done is it's actually come up to the extreme, to an extreme level. But what do we know, right? We understand that swing structure is what is most important, right? And that is what gives us the overall direction and understanding of where we want price to go, right? So just because we've got a bearish change of character, it doesn't mean that price has to go in that direction, because remember what I said, we have to use them in the right levels, right? And we haven't gone into levels and such just yet, so that will be the reason potentially why that failed, because it could have been valid, but because we're not drawing levels yet. But we just want you to be able to understand and identify valid change of characters, right? So we know from what we do know right now is currently we have still our protected high on our week low. We expect to see a new lower high in the market before a new lower low. So once again, we expect this to get ran and this to not get broken, as long as the given trend is to remain. So if we look at the most recent change of character, this would be the most recent high that's gone. Okay, so what would be our confirmed change of character? We go all the way back down, and we come to the bottom. Okay, this is the low. So if this low goes, we've now had a confirmed change of character back bearish, okay? And then this can give us, again, that first indication that we are now starting to see the trend change, right? Now, obviously, like 1 hour change of characters and 4 hour change of characters are not things we normally look at. It's more like 15 minute and below, 15 minute, 1 minute change of characters, 5 second, etc. But we can just wait to see what happens. So we understand now. There we go, right? So we've had now a confirmed change of character. We've had a shift in order flow back bearish. Now, order flow makes sense in another video, but you can see now the same thing applies, right? Even if you would have looked to get involved in a trade and short this here and take this down, you can still see now that you can just get involved again, right? We've had a high go and then a low go. We can see now that this has broken through the low with a candle wick, and this is still a confirmed change of character. A change of character is confirmed by a wick break, not just the candle body, and that is what differs between a change of character and a break of structure. So you can see here, this was the swing low that led to this break. This has broken through this with the candle body, so this denotes this as the protected high. But what we've got here, so we can see the different change of characters we've identified so far. We see a low and then a high go, okay? We then see a high go and then a low go, okay? This failed, right? Because again, like I said, we've got to use them in the right areas. Then we can see, look, a high and then a low go, right? So then what we've got to see now is we'll see what happens next, right? So let price play on. You can see here now that what we've had here is this is the same thing, right? Actually, no, I'm not going to go into that one just yet, because that will cause a little bit of confusion, because we'll go into the more advanced stuff in a bit. But now we can see here now that we've had that, right? So now we've got a new break of structure to the downside, right? This is a swing break of structure, okay? Now we understand that this is no longer our protected high in the market, and this is no longer our swing range, okay? But what we've done now is we've put in a new protected lower high in the market. That's led to this. So we've got the high that's led to this low. So we understand now that this is currently our protected lower high in the market, right here. Okay, and we're now looking to put in our new lower low in the market. So what do we expect following a swing structural break? To put in a new lower low before we get a new lower high, before we continue. We understand that price should not break above the protected high, because that's protected, and then we look to see a weak low. So like I said, we use change of characters in the right area, right? But we're just going to plot them and see and understand them for when they occur, right? So we'll wait for price to push down, okay? And we wait to see what we'd have here now. So if we just have a look and take this back, we can see here now that at this current low, we can see we're starting to pull back now, right? We can see we've taken this low, okay? We've had a low go, which is the low change of character. You can see, so this would be the low, right? So this is the most recent low that's broken. Then we follow the candle up, and this is the most recent high. Okay, so if this high is to break now, this is a confirmed bullish change of character. So you can see the low goes, okay, and then the high goes, okay, and that'll be that first indication and that 1 hour change of character. But you got to understand that swing structure is still bearish, right? So if we just see what happens, we can see now we've had a confirmed change of character, okay? You can see that because we denote them as wick breaks as a confirmed change of character. So once again, we can draw out our target, which is our weak low from swing structure, because we know swing structure, we have a protected lower high with a weak low, okay? We understand that given direction is still bearish, and this is our swing structural point from here to here. We understand we'd like to see now a pullback into at least premium levels, which would be up in this level here at the top 50%, before we come and put in the new lower low. So we've got lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. This change of character gives us that first indication that we are now starting to see the pullback to potentially come and put in this new lower high before a new lower low, because we've had that first initial shift in trend, okay? So now this, if used in the right levels to the left, again, it'll make sense later on, but if we've used it in the right levels, and this is basically hit a good level, and we've had a change of character, this is now a good time to potentially look to buy up into these levels. But we've got to understand the bigger picture play, which will come into more in multi-time frame analysis. We are still bearish between this swing point to this swing point. We expect to see a new lower high in the market before a new lower low. This is simply giving us that first indication of a trend change, but this does not specifically mean that this is now going to continue to push up. It could still come and push lower, but this is what we mean. We've got to use them in the right areas, which is what we mean. So we can see here now that price has come up and it's come and taken back down. So we can see we got that first initial trend change, and we did continue to push up. Okay, just going to take this back a minute because we've gone a little bit too far, and we know normally we'd like to take prices up into premium levels, right? Okay, but we just saw that it didn't, and it went off the discounted level, right? But again, just look at the change of character, right? We're going to play price up, and we can see this was the most recent break, okay? This was the take of the high. So if we follow the candle down, the first indication would have been ideally we want to see this low get taken. You could argue that this was the low, but again, I'm going to provide some PDFs to show you different change of characters and how aggressive you want to be, because this will be a lower time frame change of character, like on a lower time frame, and it depends how you want to aggressively want to take them, and I'll provide a PDF. But just understand this was the high, and we'll just say this was the low that we'd want to see get taken, right? You follow the high, follow the low down. You could say that one there, but what we can see what actually happened is if we just play it out, you can see we got a new high break, okay? So you can see that we took this high right here, okay? There's the high, right? So now we follow the price down, so there's the current high, we follow it down, and here's the most recent low, right? So if we now break this low, this gives us that first indication once again that we've had a trend change, right? Just because we've had a bullish change of character and another bullish break, this is currently putting in like lower time frame bullish structure, which we know is simply playing a pullback of the overall swing structure, because we are bearish from this point to this point, right? We expect to see a new lower high in the market before a new lower low. But like I said, Once we get a change of character now back bearish and used in the right area, this can tell us and give us that indication, okay, we are now looking to potentially see the expectation to come and take out the new, to come and put in a new lower low. Well, sorry, put in the new lower high once we get that bearish change of character to come and put in a new lower low. So let's see what happens. Oh, we went one too far again. So we can see here now, if we look at this, you can see now this high got taken here, okay? So this was the high. You can see now this high got taken here. And you can see how aggressive these change of characters are, right? And you can see the difference between a swing structural break and a change of character. So you can see here now this high is gone. So if we follow price back down, if this low goes now, this now indicates and signifies to us that we've now had a bearish change of character. Okay, so let's play price on. You can see here now we've had that change of character. Okay, and now price has completely gone and melted and hit to the floor, right? And that is the difference between a change of character and a sort of breaker structure on the, so what I'll do actually just to show you that on a cleaner time frame, a little bit messier. So you can see here now, look, you can see more cleaner there because that didn't look too clean on the 1 hour. You can see the high goes, you follow it down, the low goes, right? And there's your change of character, okay? So that is the difference between a change of character and swing structure breaks and sort of internal structural breaks. It is so overcomplicated. Just think a high then a low, or the low then a high gets taken, and you can use wick breaks and understand how they differ from swing structure and internal structure. So if anyone's got any questions, as always, send over to the Discord.